Good afternoon, everyone. I'm CA Mansi Mishra, moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all in this webinar being organized by CCLEA and NPO Committee of ICI. It's my pleasure to be a moderator in the webinar on cooperatives, professional opportunities for chartered accountants on 22nd of January 26 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. being organized by Committee on Commercial Laws, Economic Advisory and NPO Cooperative of ICI. In a short while, we will start this webinar. I would like to apprise you about the CCLEA and NPO committee. This committee is focused to encourage chartered accountants to shape strategy and policy that unlocks economic, financial, and social value while combining analytical foresight with commercial acumen. One of the core areas of this committee is to serve the multifunctional task of analysis, knowledge, dissemination, inputs to regulators on policy formulation, to develop and publish technical guidance, background materials, etc., and to create awareness for professional opportunities for chartered accountants in commercial laws, economic advisory, and NPO cooperatives. Our eminent speaker will talk on cooperatives, professional opportunities for CAs in this webinar, and we hope that the same shall be useful to all the members. Now, I would like to introduce you today's speaker, CA Ruta Chitade ma'am from Pune. Her certifications include DISA, Forensic Audit, Fraud Detection, IFRS NDS, Concurrent Audit, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting, CSR Implementation. Ma'am is also a social auditor. She has qualified as chartered accountant in 2022. 2002. She has been practicing for last 23 years as a partner in Shashank Patki and Associates. She has varied experience including statutory audit of a large multi-state cooperative banks, hospitals, educational institutes, nationalized banks, listed and private limited companies, etc. Her firm is also specializes in risk-based internal audit and management audit. Ma'am has delivered various sessions as a speaker on the various topics at various branches of ICI as well as other forums like management colleges, ICSI, etc. on the topic like audit of agriculture finance in banks, audit of loans and advances, taxation of trust, taxation of individuals including HNI, reporting requirements of urban cooperative banks, incorporation of companies, analysis of various financial statements from credit perspectives, and so on. Ma'am has been a chairperson of Pune branch of WIRC of ICI for the year 2019 and 2020 and has been regional council member of WIRC of ICI for the years 2022 to 2025. She has been participating in trekking sessions at Himalayas and has successfully completed high altitude treks such as Roop Kund, Quarry Pass, etc. She was an office bearer of an informal group of CA Arts and Sports Circle. Her other hobbies include reading, embroidery, conducting financial literacy awareness sessions for small children also. Ma'am, with this, I would like to welcome you for today's session on behalf of this committee. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mansi ji, for giving such a delightful introduction of me. So, thank you so much. Thank you for the committee for having touched upon this important subject of professional opportunities, because many a times it so happens that somewhere cooperatives are considered as a taboo, something that where people feel that whether it is that glamorous also to take up such type of audits. So, but let me add that that is the reason why I feel that it is really important that the committee has taken this. It will also, I hopefully at the end of the session, I would like to note here that I hopefully I'll be able to create some interest at how a chartered accountant can take off such a large number of opportunities are available now in cooperative sector, and without having attention. Let me first address one part of why generally cooperative audits are considered as a taboo. One of the reasons is that a lot of responsibilities have been put upon or entrusted to a chartered accountant under the Cooperative Act. Now, there are state acts, and as well as there is a national act for multi corporate, that is multi-state cooperatives. But um, basically for the cooperatives which are not multi-state but are operating in the individual states, say for example Maharashtra, for example Gujarat, there are state acts. And the state acts, if I look and talk about Maharashtra Cooperative State Act and in MSC, it has been specifically put a responsibility on the chartered accountant to file an FIR if at all he or she finds some kind of problems or some kind of even smallest of issues. They hope, and rather the act says that a chartered accountant should create a specific report and then file an FIR. Now that is something of a problem, which I think, and even I would also be under tension if someone asks me to file an FIR. It is not about filing the FIR per se, but process of getting the permission from the cooperative committee commissioner and then filing the FIR and going through the entire process is not commensurate with the fees that we get for it. So that is one of the, I mean, ultimately we are professionals, yes, but this is also should be commensurate with whatever fees we are getting. Otherwise, and entering into all such issues also is a loss of time and opportunity loss. But I would like to say this on this forum that please, the process is very simple. I have also carried it out in one case, so there is no need to take tension. So instead of taking tension of this particular point, the opportunities, if we weigh them both of this, then I think the risk of going through this entire process is very less as compared to the opportunities that a chartered accountant can have. Okay, this particular risk is related to the assurance function, but not necessarily other than statutory audit. What we are now trying to find out or explore are the different opportunities that can possibly be explored by a chartered accountant. So, coming to just this is the background that I feel that we should know, because this is what many chartered accountants have been telling me that आप कैसे कर लेते हो कोऑपरेटिव का ऑडिट, क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो बहुत टेंशन होता है, कोऑपरेटिव में कब सीए फंस जाएगा पता नहीं चलता. So that kind of tension, if one is diligent in working, if one has good working papers, if one can create a proper audit trail and documentation, then I don't think that a person needs to be worried about such situations. Ultimately, our audit procedures and audit account auditing standards, if they are taken care of properly, if you have done your peer review, and if the entire office process, I mean the back office process that we have in our auditing firms, if that is streamlined, then I don't think that any person should be worried about this fact that kahin audit mein फंस तो न जाए. Let's not worry about it, because our auditing standards are very crystal clear. If implemented properly, if AQMM is implemented properly, then no one will be able to, put us properly. So having said that, as far as assurance function is concerned, now let us think about some other different opportunities. On this note, I will also like to add that the committee has also come up with publication in respect of professional opportunities for chartered accountants. Just recently, this publication was made on, I think, 16th December or 19th December. People who are interested in reading it, please go through the web page of the committee specifically, where you can easily get the publications, various publications, beautiful publications have been compiled by the committee. Please go through them. They will immensely help you. In fact, this particular booklet, Professional Opportunities for Chartered Accountants in Cooperative Sector, this publication has been recently made, and it will give you a ready-made list of what all and how the opportunities can be explored by a chartered accountant. You can read it at leisure. It is a beautiful publication. So, I'll share the PowerPoint that I have prepared. and then we will talk about it more. Is it visible,
Yes, ma'am.
Mansi ji? Can you please confirm?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Yeah, thank you so much. So please look at the logo here that I have put in. This is International Year of Cooperation. Why I have put it? The reason is that 2025 was the UN International Year of Cooperatives. So that is UN, United Nations. So that is the importance that is now being given to the cooperative sector. And we should be able to think of international opportunities as well. This cooperative sector is not only on the Indian scene, but please understand that this particular cooperatives is also well known throughout the world. And in fact, the UN had announced 2025 as the UN International Year of Cooperatives, and that is why this just recently ended. That's why I put up this logo so that people would be aware that cooperatives is one sector which is now getting very highly in focus, even at the world level, international level. So first, before I begin full-fledged into the PPT, please understand that these are the disclaimers. Whatever views are there that I shall be expressing during this presentation are completely my views and are not the official opinion or views of ICAI. The images used, I believe that they are free to use and these are only for illustrative purposes. There is no, I do not have any claim on them. As far as credits is concerned, I have also been through various internet websites also, but this I have particularly put in. The reason is that if a person wants to access this website, please go through this website because this is the cooperative website of the government and the government's, Ministry of Cooperation. This particular website is very useful to understand what are the latest development, what exactly is happening with the ministry, and what all they are doing in cooperative sector. So it is a very relevant website. People who are interested in carrying out this type of work related to cooperatives, please put it on your bookmark bar. So, what is a cooperative? Before we go on full-fledged into the professional opportunities, I would like to first explore and talk about exactly what is a cooperative because this is the point from where our opportunities are going to come. So, a cooperative is an autonomous association of persons. Autonomous, no one has made it compulsory. So, it is an autonomous association where there is an autonomy or for the people who are associated with this particular organization to carry out its work, to find out how best it can work for its own members. So it is an autonomous association. How it is and why they have come together, they have met voluntarily. No one has forced them to do and carry out or form this organization. They have come together voluntarily for what? For carrying out economic, social, and cultural needs. So, cooperative society can be formed for any of such goals. And this inspiration is how to form this cooperative. It is a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. Please go and think deeply about these two words. It is jointly owned, which means that all the members together own this cooperative society and it is democratically controlled. It is not one person's ownership. In a private limited, if I have 99% of shares, then I am the person who is owning and controlling it. But here, at least today, the situation is that it is one vote per member and it has nothing to do with the number of shares that are owned by a person. It is one person, one vote. And just like in a democracy, in a normal kind of general election that we face, it's one vote per person. It has nothing to do with the income, net worth, whatever. Similarly, in a cooperative, this particular thought is very important that it is one person, one vote. Why? Because we also need to know the Cooperative Act. One of the foremost number of opportunities are there if we understand the act. We mean chartered accountant know and clearly understand this particular act, not only the state act, whichever state you are currently residing in, please have a look at it. You can also, of course, study some other state acts and can also go on for consultancy of those state acts. But it is important to know that there are two levels. One is the state act and another is the national act. So national act means which the multi-state cooperative act. That is the currently that particular act has also gone for amendment and there are various changes, notifications that are coming through. Even the MS, that is Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, MSC Act, and in Maharashtra, Societies Act also is known as MSC. So for ease of understanding, we will say Multi-State Act. And if at all I'm referring to a state act, I might say it as MSC because Maharashtra is one of the largest state which has cooperatives, number of cooperatives, especially if you look at from the point of view of economic size, then I feel that Maharashtra leads it by quite a large number, and even Gujarat has quite a high number of cooperatives. Now, these are the principles of cooperatives. Cooperatives are based on the value of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity. Why I have particularly put up it in this slide is the reason is that whenever you're going for any kind of consultancy, please understand that what is the basis of any cooperative. The cooperative movement has come a long way, especially, and it is formed around these particular principles. So these principles are something which we need to keep it in our mind whenever we are giving any consultancy. Because that alone, our consultancy for me as a chartered accountant, the value addition that I have to do will come if I really and totally understand that how a cooperative is formed, what are the principles of how a cooperative operates, and that will help me to really give a proper type of advice or suggestions to the cooperatives. Cooperative enterprise builds a better world. Why you might know the examples of Amul, right? Anand. So all that Anand has really been one of the most game-changing cooperative movement in Gujarat, and it is Amul, right? That brand is quite well known to all. So that is one of the most successful and how really a cooperative can add value to the poorest of poor people. We all can, reach that point together, provided we all are together. And we as Chartered Accountants, recently I was invited as a panelist for the panel discussion, which had been organized by the committee at Delhi, where ministers from the cooperative ministry had also, come for that occasion. Point was the point of the entire thing was that the tagline of that particular program was Samruddhi ke Sarthi, Sahkar se Samruddhi, Samruddhi ke Sarthi. So Sahkar se hi Samruddhi. I would like to add that it is not Sahkar se Samruddhi, it's Sahkar se hi Samruddhi. Why? Because if all people come together, then all will be able to put in their joint efforts. All people will be able to take all other people to a better level, better tomorrow. So how and where it started? Just keep in mind this background before we move on to the opportunities. We'll move to the opportunities in 2 minutes. But before that, I would like to like you to ponder upon this fact that how exactly this cooperative movement started. This is the story that is famous. That this is where the Rockdale pioneers founded the modern cooperative movement in Lancashire, England. The idea was very simple. See, the idea was to come together to ensure that there are economies of scale. See, if I buy something from a trader alone, then what if this is a very, very common and a basic economic principle that if I have it multiples, then naturally because of the volume, I'll get a discount. So these people came exactly together to find out and avail of this discount of economic, large scale. And in that resulted into this cooperative movement. So some 12 or 14 people who were known as Rockdale pioneers because these pioneers established a consumer store in the North England. look at the next paragraph. The first aim was to establish cooperatives where the members would not only be their own merchants, but they will also produce and they will also be the employer. That is, they will come together. They will not only trade their own goods, but they will also, able to purchase, not only produce but also sell. So that is where the cooperative movement, those people had come together. People had come together to do what? To be together, and so that everyone who has come together will be benefited from coming together. So this is the idea behind the cooperative. So first thing is that member of any cooperative, that member concept is very important. A person to avail the benefits of a cooperative has to be a member first. So all these members who have come together would be the people who drive this entire society, and all of the people will be benefited. So as far as India is concerned, cooperatives have played a very vital role in the economy of India. How? We will see. The Indian scene, there are a lot, as you are aware, lot of cooperatives are in every walks of life. In fact, so to say, there are 30% of our population, the membership, these people are known as cooperators. We all, especially in urban scene, if you look at it, most of the people are living in housing cooperative society. So we all are also cooperators. So there is a common, housing society, it can be of bungalows, it can be of apartments, it can be of flats. But if we are living and together in a cooperative society, so we all are also members of that cooperative society, and we also are known as cooperators. So how many such cooperators are there? This 290 million is I think 2 years ago, this particular point, I think the latest data is 300 million plus. So that is the amount of people who have associated with the cooperative. So you can imagine what is the market size. I like to term it as a market size. So because then these many people are linked with cooperatives, then naturally these all people would require our help in some or the other manner. That is how I look at it. So then the villages, there is a cooperative, there is a cooperative in each and every village. That is primary cooperatives. And in fact, the entire amount of cooperators for up to 30% of national population. This is what I have derived from these particular figures are from the website. You may have a look at the website for updated, if they have updated it latest in last week. So this is the Indian cooperative movements at a glance. This is from 2023, this particular data. However, because I'm yet to get the latest figures, but we can make out from this particular figures that how many organizations are linked and how many organizations are there. Let me tell you off the record this is only for chartered accountants, I believe. So one of the DDRs, that is district registrars, told me one thing that in Pune, this is in Maharashtra, Pune is near Mumbai. So it is one of the cities where we have a cooperative commissioner sitting here. So the entire state of Maharashtra's commissioner of cooperation sits here in Pune. He has a central office here. So one of the people there was informing me that why chartered accountants are needed. So while we were carrying out the empanelment when I was the chairman of Pune branch, so at that time or somewhere afterwards, the empanelment had started in Maharashtra for the state level housing societies and many other cooperative societies. Point of the story was that only 500 people in Pune, 500 firms in Pune had registered. And do you know that how many housing societies were to be audited? 13,000. So 13,000 housing societies were to be audited, and there were only 500 firms in Maharashtra from Pune which had registered. So look at the level of difference. 13,000 housing societies only in Pune city. Can you imagine the size of work that was pending? And that work was pending. I mean, all these housing societies were pending to be audited for, I think, 3 years at that time. Later on, there was Corona and all that. But, and in fact, the problem currently with the Maharashtra state cooperative, what I am facing right now is that their website is a bit weak. So it needs to be more robust so as to understand how many exactly the number of societies are available. In fact, uh, we other societies, they themselves can also suggest, I mean, select auditors. And if at all they are unable to select the auditors, the cooperative department from their panel allocates the audits for to all these chartered accountants who are on their panel. So this I'm talking only about assurance function, that is statutory audits. We have not even touched yet the remaining types of work that is still available to a chartered accountant. So when we are talking of assurance function, this is just an example. Look at the size of cooperative. It is 7,94,000. And right now, when it is more than that. So many cooperatives are out there. And all these people need to be audited. There is no bifurcation that इसको audit नहीं करना है उसको करना है ऐसे कुछ नहीं है सबको audit करना है 7,94,000 societies needs to be audited. So would are we up for the challenge? That is what the question we have. So for that, we first need to learn about the Cooperative Act. If at all these are state cooperatives, the total number of 7,94,000 is of 2023. I've also put that date down the line. But point of the thing is that all of these societies need to be audited. Only thing is whether, see, multi-state, national level cooperative federations, those are 19. Then there are state level federations. Then there are district level cooperatives. And then there are multi-state cooperative societies. So national level and multi-state cooperatives, those two for auditing this type of cooperatives, we will need to know the Multi-State Cooperative Act, and for others, we will need to know the State Act. Coming to the Indian cooperative movement, this is just, we need not go through the entire slide, but the idea of creating this slide was to, for the understanding of participants, that these are the cooperative types of cooperative societies that are currently working in our country. So there are agricultural credit societies, then there are agricultural supplies, marketing societies, then there are even processing societies. For example, let me give an example of an agricultural processing. This is what I know. That then there are mangoes. Mango in Konkan area, that is also being processed. Now the idea, it is not yet done, but I have some clients who are looking at mango processing to find, I mean, to construct or found a cooperative society for processing these mangoes. That is what it is being suggested, and they are still discussing it. But this kind of processing can be taken up by a cooperative society. We have weavers cooperatives, right? Then there are, that is production or processing. Then there are housing cooperatives, of course, that is quite clear. Then industrial cooperatives, that also there are a lot. We will look at what type of industrial cooperatives are there in a short while. Then there are urban cooperatives, credit cooperatives, and also cooperative banks. Now, these two are different things. Credit cooperatives are Pata Sanstha, okay? And banks are banks. There are cooperative banks like Saraswat Bank, perhaps it is very well known on a national scale. In Maharashtra, there is Cosmos, then there is Janta Sahkari Bank, then there is Solapur Janta, Kalyan Janta. So those are state level urban cooperative banks. Then there are credit cooperative banks. Then still more, there are rural cooperative banks. So a lot of cooperatives, cooperative credit societies are also there other than banks. Then there is public distribution of essential commodities through consumer cooperatives. Now, what is a consumer cooperative? You might be knowing Apna Bazaar or something like that. Then we also have not Apna Bazaar as a name. I'm saying that there is Grahak Sangha, which is based out of Mumbai. So even in Pune, I'm also a member of that Grahak Sangha. So what it does is it actually purchases. There are, I think, around 1 lakh plus members of that Grahak Sangha. So what they do is they purchase items from various parts, okay, from Mumbai market, from say Punjab market. They purchase lot of things together because and they also have a list of what all one can order. It's a website proper. We can order online, and after that, the entire orders are assimilated, and then when they create a purchase order out of it, you can imagine the amount of discount that one gets due to all these people, all of us coming together as a part of a cooperative society where we can purchase such things and at a very, very high discount. So that is one of the uses of having a consumer cooperative. Then there are also national level cooperatives like uh, NAFED is there. That is an marketing federation, National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation, which has 5,000 marketing societies. So these are the societies which operate at a local market level and handle agricultural produce. Why I have put up this particular slide so that we can understand that how many opportunities are can be explored for related to the number of organizations that are out there. Before even exploring that, first understand that there is and was a cooperative law in India right even before the independence. So what is the reason? What are the problems that the cooperative movement did not take up as what was expected? And now with the formation of ministry, a separate ministry of cooperation in the year 2021, I hope that this particular problems that I have put up in this slide would go away. And who will be helping them for this problems to go away? We as chartered accountants. Why? Because we are good at law. We can understand, interpret, and apply a law, any kind of law, because we are good at that. Most importantly, we can understand impact. Impact analysis is, I think, one of the best things that a chartered accountant can bring to the table. So, please go through this. What are were the problems that the cooperative societies faced? And now, because of the new ministry, I hope that these problems will go away and the cooperative sector will be in a boom. See, there was excessive dependence on state patronage. With the creation of Ministry of Cooperation at a national level, I think there is the pathway for creating a central control is now there. And with that, the state patronage, perhaps, we don't know, there was a dual kind of control over cooperatives. Cooperatives was essentially a state subject earlier, but I think, but that's why there was an excessive dependence on the state via ministries. But now with the central ministry there, I think it will be much more streamlined. And why? Because the idea will be to have uniform models for taking into account even the local and geographical factors somewhat, but there will be a uniform law. And then it will be easier for us across India, pan India, to understand what is a cooperative act and also to apply it. There was an interference from bureaucracy. I think with advent of AI, information technology, and with manual things going down, this problem would definitely get solved in more than 100%. This problem should get solved. Political interference in elections and organizational matters. See, when the election and organizational matters, the political interference was a problem, definitely. But with the law in place and the methods and formats, processes of how to conduct an election is now in place with the multi-state cooperatives and those changes that are now being made in law, the profession, I mean, all the elections and these organizational matters will be now handled increasingly by professionals. If that is the case, then I don't see that political interference will be a problem in the coming years. In fact, this is a big opportunity for us chartered accountants. Uh, Leave aside the assurance function. We cannot do assurance and management function together. But if we are not carrying out any assurance functions for that particular society, then we can definitely do go for a consultancy role where we can help them to conduct the elections in a proper manner. Please understand that why I am saying this, that we can give a consultancy, that what I have seen or experienced over the period is that cooperative societies are formed. Okay, point one. Point two, that there is no sophisticated level of people who can understand law and implement it. So this is where our role comes in. We can step in at that particular point and understand how the elections are formed, how are conducted, how a board is formed, and how things can be done in a more proper, correct, and an orderly manner by interpreting the law and by implementing it. So at that point, we can, as a chartered accountants, step in and help the cooperative societies to conduct all these things in a properly and an orderly manner, in a systematic manner, where there is proper adherence to law. So one first must get acquainted with the law. I think to that end, even again, let me state this, that the committee has come up with different kind of certification programs related to cooperative law and how to conduct audit of cooperatives. That is also there. A certificate course on cooperatives has already is already there. So one can make do that course and then find out what exactly are the laws, how they are being implemented, how they ought to be implemented. And by learning that, I think a chartered accountant can definitely make use of it. Please go also through the professional opportunities publication, because there also how exactly we can help in conduct of elections, how exactly we can help the management in carrying out their own duties. That all is there, and it is process by step. The entire thing has been explained. Please go through that publication if you are interested in giving your helping hand to these cooperatives for election and such management related processes. As far as the earlier problem was there, that international financial institutions used to dictate the policies. Now, over the periods, this problem is no longer there. The All the cooperatives are more than self-sufficient, and as such, the dependence upon the international financial institutions has reduced largely. For at least I am seeing any impact on the cooperative societies related to this particular issue, which was faced by the cooperatives earlier. So, how are they registered? What kind of jurisdiction is there? We have some of the examples of how and where these cooperative societies are located. Tomorrow, even if you decide that, okay, I'll be conducting work related to cooperatives, but where to find them? So this is particular slide where one can find it. So where are the primary cooperatives? There are four levels, okay, primary cooperative, a district level cooperatives, and a state cooperative. Apart from that, there is a multi-state cooperative, which takes into consideration all uh, such cooperatives which function in more than one state. So, primary cooperatives, district central cooperatives, state cooperatives, and then there are multi-state cooperatives. So, the jurisdiction is exactly what, and what are the examples? So, this kind of slide will help you to understand that where are these people located who require our knowledge and the way we think. So this is the structure. You can go through it with later. I'll anyway be sharing the slide. So let's come to one of the cooperatives. This is a urban cooperative bank, a typical cooperative society, and which is governed by the state act, because this is not a multi-state urban cooperative bank. We are talking about normal cooperative banks that we find near our in our city. So in Maharashtra, this is again 2023. Now there are a lot of mergers that are happening. The reason is that it is believed that 2030, lot of good small cooperative banks will come together and form a large cooperative bank. So that is one of the visions. Why? Because cooperative banks have reached to the grassroots levels, but at the same time, to function properly, it is better to be a part of a larger cooperative bank so that all the processes are correctly implemented, and it is very difficult to oversee the working of a smaller cooperative bank. Now, over the period, what has happened is that as far as cooperative banks, credit societies are different. They are still under state law, and they are still governed by the state ministry. But as far as cooperative banks are concerned, now the entire charge is with RBI. So Reserve Bank of India takes care and for implementation and one regulator only. Earlier, there were two regulators. One was the state level regulator and another was RBI. But recently, since 2021, the amendment has taken place, and now the urban cooperative banks are no longer governed currently by the state level, but are 100% regulated by RBI. But still, there is a part of it which still is overlapped by the state cooperatives. So, in while carrying out the audit, we need to submit one report even to the state cooperative department for their understanding. But now the focus of regulation the regulation is primarily now carried out by the RBI for urban cooperative banks. It doesn't matter who the regulator is, but the opportunity still lies with the chartered accountants. So, for carrying out the audits, yes, definitely there is a high scope for carrying out statutory audits because every 3 years, 3 years the audit is given to a firm unless the firm resigns or the bank says that we don't want these auditors. So after 3 years are over, 6 years there is a gap. So if my firm is auditing a bank for 3 years, then after the end of third year, next 6 years I will not be able to get that audit. So there is a lot of opportunity for large number of firms to have even the statutory audit. The only requirement is as far as there is ISA is required, then as 1,000 crores above, there is also a different number of chartered accountants. So there are five chartered accountants. Then you can also go to the circular of 2021 of RBI, and even the urban cooperative banks themselves publish the criteria under which they are falling, and so that what type of a firm they require for carrying out their audits. So that is being published by every urban cooperative bank. If you wish to explore the statutory audit scene, there is clear-cut regulation, and it is always possible to get that audit. It's a very nice experience. If at all it is not possible to start with the statutory audit because some association is required, to be very frank, some association, some link with the cooperative bank is required to understand that what is their culture, how they are functioning, what are the methodologies, because some people require the reports in Marathi, for example. So even if we should also be able to provide those kind of reports in Marathi, for example. So, to understand and to have a clear-cut idea about the expectations, it is better to have a link. So, how to have a link in the sense association with them before going on directly for statutory audit. So, how exactly that association can be formed? The idea is that one can always start with application or empanelment for stock audits. Start with that, start small. Then over the periods, I can always tell you my example. In 2005, I started doing concurrent audit of one large urban cooperative bank. So that was, in fact, only one branch in those time in 2005. Over the period, they gave me three branches. Then, after a break, they started giving me audit of various departments of the head office. So I did only two departments, only accounts department, only estate department, that kind of work till 2011. So once year they gave me consolidation work, checking of all the consolidation of that time there were 50 branches. And now today, after 20 years or so, I'm the central statutory auditor of that bank. Point is that we need to be associated with them. So start small, start with stock audits, start empaneling yourself as a stock auditor. Once they understand the level of work you are carrying out, they themselves would approach you for carrying out the concurrent audit. Only thing is What I believe is that we must keep on giving some value addition each time, every time. It should not be the case. Now, how value addition? For example, if I'm appointed as a GST auditor or GST consultant, my work should not be restricted to check, just taking up the GST amounts. Okay, this is the total income, this is the GST that needs to be paid, this is how the challan will be prepared, and that's the end. No, even if I am not being given the work of checking out all the GST and I just have to compile a report. What I believe how a value addition is possible is by checking the amounts that really what is the total income, whether the bank or whoever is the entity, whether that entity or organization has a policy of creating a charge. So, for example, processing charges. Now, whether the processing charges that are being collected from the customer is inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST. I must also understand that if I am able to deliver some value, in the sense that if I can audit it, ultimately I am a chartered accountant, I am an auditor. I must compare what is being, the data given to me. Even if I'm merely, a GST consultant and I'm not doing any assurance function, I personally feel that if one can if one can add value, then it will be of much importance. If you can just show to them by simple calculation, by a mere data analysis, that please have a look at these figures. And I feel that these two figures have a problem. The GST is not inclusive, but you have considered it as exclusive. These two branches have not worked it out properly. Even if one says that, I think it would save a lot of hassle to this particular organization. This is the way one can value add in each and every work entrusted to a person. And that will help us to grow. That will help us to enhance our role. Once they know our means as a chartered accountants, what else can we do? And we are thinking for the organization. That itself will be helpful for exploring new opportunities. If I am thinking for the organization while I'm doing a consultancy, then at that time it can go on. See, now that opportunity while conducting internal audit of one bank, ultimately it so happened that I was given the opportunity to look at and oversee the internal audit function got over. After that, after 2 or 3 years later, because they understood that what kind of work our firm is giving, this is nothing to do with my firm, but I'm only trying to say that what happens if one does value addition. They later on approached us to carry out one due diligence work while they were carrying out a merger. So they wanted to take over another bank, because nowadays, as I said, it's the mission of RBI to merge another banks, so merge smaller banks so that into larger banks, so that there will be handful of cooperative banks which will reach out to the entire grassroots, but at the same time it will be easier for them to control. So with that idea, they approached us at a later date that whether you would be able to carry out due diligence. The point is that please give please keep in mind that one has to give one plus something plus. I believe in the nature of, have you ever heard of this principle that one plus means that whatever work one is doing, it should be plus something more than what is expected. If you and it is definitely possible in each and every work. If I'm carrying out statute audit, I'm thinking of what are internal audit and where I have to look at statutory requirements. See, today there is a new security code now, Social Security Code 2025. Then in that case, if I have uh, asked or informed the client on my own, nothing to do with the audit or what type of work I'm going giving, that client. If I'm just informing that ICAI FAQs are there now on PF gratuity and the new changes that are being carried out in the Labor Act, if I've just forwarded those FAQs, that is also important for the clients because that impacts them directly. So this is how one can do value addition. Think about what is going to affect them. ICAI is also helping us by providing us with such FAQs. So even if you just forward the FAQs to them, it is going to help them a lot. So please also, I mean, have at least this is what I do. Every morning, I open up ICAI website to find out what is new. So that is bookmark. Second is bookmarked on my desktop. I mean, once I open Google, every person opens the Google first thing in the morning. So the first thing when I come reach office and I open my Google, first thing I do is I open up ICI website. Second is PDICI, the opportunity. What is the opportunity? Whether it is possible for me to take up any opportunity. Third bookmark page is RBI because I am carrying out a lot of cooperative banks audit, as you must have heard it in my intro. So that is the third thing. So for 1 hour every day, my idea is to open up and check up what are the opportunities, what are the latest updates on three or four things that I must should be aware of. So ICAI members page, ICAI cooperative committees page, those two, three things I definitely look. So if you are interested in carrying out cooperative audits, please go through the committee's web page every day. There is something or other new happening with ICI. Then second page is if you are interested in RBI, cooperative banks, please go through RBI. Please also go through the web page or website of Ministry of Cooperation every day so that we will not be, अरे ये तो मुझे पता ही नहीं चला कब हुआ. That will not work. So one has to be systematic enough also to do that, to make use of the opportunities that are given. What is PSCs? So primary agricultural credit societies. Why this is important is just latest what Ministry of Cooperation has done is they have computerized in all this PSCs. So 99,000 plus 1 lakh plus there are PSCS, and all of them are sought to be computerized. And I think most of the work is also now done. Why? The reason is Ministry of Cooperation wants to understand that how many PSCS are there, how many members are connected with them, and tomorrow if they want to disseminate, disseminate credits to all these societies to carry out some work or to so that the last member of this PSCS will be benefited. So if the ministry wants to reach out to them, first they must have a data. Now, how they will have the data if the computerization takes place? So they have, I think, computerized more than 1 lakh PSCS. That is what the latest number I will have to check up. But currently, that is what the Ministry of Cooperation has been doing. How and where is our role? The role here is these are the areas. If you look at Maharashtra, Gujarat, Bihar, PSCS are primary agricultural credit societies. So they are spread all over the region. And in fact, they are in each village or taluka place. In that case, we as chartered accountants can help them to understand how to go about it, what exactly is to be done, what data is to be collected, what are the ministry's role, what they are trying to do, and we can act as a bridge between the PSCS and the Ministry of Cooperation. This is where our role is. See, right now the role will have to be defined by us only. So this is an excellent opportunity that is now coming up with the advent of computerization, with AI in place, with information technology. That even we can easily handle any kind of IT or any kind of data analysis. So it will be an excellent thing. So wait and watch about how what exactly we can go for and do for this PACS. What are primary agricultural societies? These are the very grassroots level cooperative credit structures. They are in they in fact are basically formed. Agricultural credit societies are formed to evade the evils of money lenders. If you know the money lenders, they charge more than 18%, 20%, whatever interest rate it comes to their mind. In that case, the farmers are the sufferers and they require credits. See, farming is not whatever I have seen, farming is not a very easy business. It's a very costly thing to carry out. Why? because both sides there is a lot of uncertainty. There is uncertainty related to production. There is uncertainty related to prices, ultimately sale prices. So in this, the primary credit societies act as a support system. And that is the reason why farmers are largely benefited in villages through this primary agricultural credit society. With computerization, now it will be more transparent. The entire dealings will be very clear and they can be easily understandable by all. And that is the reason computerization has taken place. What are the functions of a PSS? This is our put up in short, where at all how one can help. So how one can help if they wish to give loans to their members, that is PACS wishes to give loans to members, all right. But whether that member is good enough, whether that member has that much capacity to repay the loan, so who will check that? So we again can step in and formulate a process. We can help them to do credit appraisal of that member. That is something that we can do. Coming to housing cooperative society. So these are the housing number of housing cooperative societies. So in Maharashtra, there are 1,25,000 housing societies. As I said, in Pune, at that time, some years ago, there were 13,000. I'm sure they would have grown by now. So that is the amount of opportunity that one has in housing cooperative, and it is not limited or restricted only to statutory audits. There are no other than statutory audit also. If one doesn't want to do statutory audits, okay, because that is everybody's choice. But then there are other things. How even as simple as maintenance of accounts. So maintenance of accounts, maintenance of minutes. This housing cooperative society, see, all this is formed by many members coming together. Okay, but who is going to write the accounts? Not necessary that each and every member would be well versed with accounts or even know how to maintain an account. So it's a problem. So this problem can be solved by a chartered accountant. Even if they do not know how to write minutes. Actually, the Cooperative Societies Act have given them permission to write even in their local language. But that is to write in a proper manner is also a challenge for many. In such a case, a chartered accountant can definitely be a supporter. He can also be a consultant. He can help them out. In fact, I know that there are some IT solutions. In the sense, there are information technology solutions as to how one can create. uh, there are apps also of some people have designed them so that to monitor, regulate, and check, have a control on the amount of membership fees that are collected by this housing cooperative society. Why these people need to collect membership fees or maintenance fees is the reason that many are defaulters. Some people give it together, some people give it without GST, some societies need to apply GST, yet they don't do it. So there are so many problems. And if you can imagine huge townships or huge societies having A, B, C, D, wings, and then there are around 500 members in one housing cooperative society. So how to control the amount received, even maintenance charges that are received from a member, whether A member has paid, whether B member has not paid, how to control it? So, what kind of solution, what kind of process needs to be designed can be told by a chartered accountant again. So, housing cooperative societies related to finance, there is one opportunity. Second opportunity is related to the management or administration of regular day-to-day business. And third opportunity also can be related to elections. How how the election is to be conducted even in a housing cooperative society. What are the how should the conduct of election be? How members can vote? All these things can also be supported by a chartered accountant because a chartered accountant knows the cooperative law. So this particular housing cooperative society support is being very clearly explained in that publication that I mentioned of professional opportunities for chartered accountants, just the recently published one. Please go through it. It's a very beautiful compilation of how a chartered accountant can help a housing cooperative society. Labor cooperatives, look at the size of labor cooperatives. There are so for this one needs to be well versed with labor act. So please go through them. It will help you. I mean, if at all most of the act remains the same, but if at all labors are coming together, their problems are slightly different. So, for example, gig workers. This new social security code, if you look, it will help the gig workers, but they are unorganized. In labor cooperatives, this labor is organized manner. So that they also can be helped up if at all they are specific to labors. So related to that, if one can study, it will be a lot easier to work with them. What are the other types of cooperatives? Then there are sugar cooperatives, transport cooperatives, daily cooperatives, Amul, poultry cooperatives, marketing cooperatives. In fact, there's a NAFED. But other than that, also there are smaller level of cooperatives. Housing cooperatives we are seeing, fishery cooperatives. So, so many. In fact, then there are handloom cooperatives, that is industrial cooperatives. We'll have a look at that. See, an industrial cooperative is an undertaking of craftsmen or skilled workers engaged in the cottage or small scale industries to undertake production. Then, in fact, in Pune, there is one cooperative society that used to take care of all this materials and do publications. It was a long time ago, but then that was also an industrial cooperative society where all the raw materials required for publication were taken together. But that was, I think, then later converted. The Section 8 company was also formed out of it, which supplied to its members for marketing and all. I mean, it also was created to take, I mean, advantage of economies of large scale. So industrial cooperatives are there, handloom, if you know handlooms and power looms. And so the handlooms are especially by skilled people and they require a lot of credit because it is very difficult to market them. So hand in hand cooperatives are also can come together for helping out the members. That is a marketing cooperative and a production cooperative. They can also come together and work together as a venture, joint venture, and then it will help all the members. Ultimately, both the members will be benefited. What are the types of industrial cooperatives? Look at this. There are handicrafts, then cooperative industrial estates, weavers cooperatives. Just like a cooperative housing society, there are I directly do not know the example of cooperative industrial estates, but definitely not in Maharashtra, I mean not nearby me. But I've heard that definitely they also work together like housing cooperatives. Then there are weavers cooperatives, similar to handicrafts are different than weavers. Okay, handlooms and all that comes under weavers. Handicrafts is actual uh, local handicrafts. So then there are like potteries or embroideries or leather related, that is purses, canning, and all those come under leather cooperatives. Then production cooperatives are there. So many kinds of industrial cooperatives are there where one can again help them in not only election and all that process, but actually carrying out small things. Even some years ago, I remember that we had an inquiry for filing of TDS returns. It's as simple as that. In fact, just 3 days ago, I took a training session for one of the cooperatives only on TDS. Nothing else. There was no other work that I did, but they had asked me to do a training session for them for TDS. That what exactly is TDS? How a TDS should be, data, how it is to be compiled. What do you mean by TDS return? Whether it should be uploaded, when it should be uploaded. So those kind of questions, they are very small, basic questions. But then that is where they don't know, right? We are the master people. We are masters in income tax related compliance work. We means chartered accountants. So that this is another opportunity that whatever we know, we can also make use of it and help them out. Because if they are in do non-compliance, the penalty, as we all know, is pretty heavy. In that case, if we help them, we means chartered accountants help them to do this kind of compliance, it will really not only help them, but even the members will be benefited because then the ultimate surplus will be higher. So that is possible. So chartered accountants definitely have this opportunity to help them with compliance because of knowledge of law. One can always think of lot of applications if our law is clear. So that is, we have a total understanding of the law related to cooperatives. One is not only the cooperative law but also the other peripheral acts like income tax act. Of course, we have an expert. We chartered accountants have an expert level of knowledge which can be useful for these cooperative societies. How we apply it matters. So one can always take this particular act, not only cooperative but income tax act, GST, and help these cooperatives, do a proper process, creates various streamline whatever work they are doing into a proper manner so that there are no penalties and fines at the end of it. What is focus on constitutional amendment? Why I have put up this slide, I'll just share. The reason is if you look at it, so how exactly a cooperative constitutional amendments wishes the cooperative to perform? What is it exactly democratic control? How professional management will take care of the cooperative? This is the reason why board of management, if you have heard in urban cooperative banks, in addition to the elected members, there is something that is known as board of management. Now, what exactly is board of management? Board of management oversees the important functions like loans. So, distribution of loans is all in board of management. That's supposed to be professional people. So half 50% of the board can be from the original elected members, and other 50% should comprise of all the educated people, highly educated people, postgraduates like advocates, maybe chartered accountants, company secretaries, something like that, who understand that how what impact will be there if at all say loans are distributed. We are talking about board of management in urban cooperative banks. So this kind of professional management is now expected even by the constitution. So therefore the changes are made to the act, to the law, and the regulator has been asked to check whether the professional management is also in place. So should be the maximum size of the board? What should be the how a managing committee will be composed of, what all type of people are there. In fact, I remember that now there is a need to have two members, women members on the board. The reason is that this is now being actively pursued by all the, not only RBI, as you know, even SEBI has amended that a woman member should be independent directors on the board. Look at the opportunities here for chartered accountant women members, that to be on the board of banks, cooperative societies, multi-state cooperative societies, so that even that opportunity is really very vast and that can also be explored. Provided one again understands Cooperative Act, then only it will be easier to make a meaningful contribution as a part of the managing committee or the board. Electoral reforms, as I said, that there are a lot of electoral reforms that have now happened, and the process and how to conduct elections is also very clear and very well documented. So please go through that. Then there is office bearers. Who exactly are office bearers? So a consultant's role is now also enhanced because that person will be able to guide the cooperative societies as to who to elect, how to elect, those kind of things. What are office bearers? If at all there is any dispute, the person can also, I mean, a consultant can also act as an arbitrator, though not exactly an arbitrator in this case, but बहुत सारे झगड़े होते रहते हैं, देन इन दैट केस एग्जैक्टली क्या करना है, लॉ क्या कहता है और इसका मायना क्या है, कैसे किया जाए, these things can also be, a chartered accountant can interpret all the situations properly and use his experience to help them solve the problems and get it all sorted. What exactly, who is the regulator, what is the registrar, what is expected, that is also, now amendments have taken place to make it more correct, more systematic, and more transparent. Because see, there were situations in urban cooperative banks. Now the regulator is RBI, but in Maharashtra Cooperative State Act, as far as related to urban cooperative banks, there is something what is known as rating, CAMELS rating. CAMELS means capital markets, sensitivity analysis, management related CAMELS. इसका full form है capital adequacy, asset quality, management. So that is the full form of CAMELS. Now, what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to say here is that there is a CAMELS rating available. Now, what and how to give marks. That is left to the statutory auditor. So, statutory auditor goes through the entire process, entire questionnaire related to CAMELS, which is defined by the Maharashtra Cooperative State Act. Now, even RBI has its own rating, but RBI has not disclosed that how they are giving the rating to a bank. But now this is where not on statutory auditor, but because I have worked as a statutory auditor, or many CAs must have worked, this CAMELS rating is easily available. There is an audit manual that has been published by the Maharashtra Cooperative State Act. And in that audit manual, there is an entire chapter on how CAMELS rating is done. So, where is the opportunity here? The opportunity here is to really understand the CAMELS rating, that how it impacts, what are the marks, what is the weightage given to a particular subject, and then help the urban cooperative banks to get the best possible CAMELS rating by giving them consultancy into ये आप change कर लो so that your marks will increase. There is very small thing such as conduct of meetings or changing of giving training to members and directors. Many times over the period, in a year's time, it is not possible for the banks to conduct such trainings. Then, in that case, if as a consultant, if I am remind them or give them a calendar that ये तो आपको करना ही है, then in that case, the marks lost by the bank just because the training is not conducted that are saved, and that is how the CAMELS rating can also increase. CAMELS rating is given a lot of importance, especially in rural areas. Okay, in depositors, first check what is the rating given in the annual report. एटलीस्ट बाकी कुछ नहीं तो उतना तो उनको पब्लिश करना ही है कि मेरे बैंक को especially in small cooperative banks, the first thing that all the members are interested is in the rating. So, and the rating is of course very important because it is directly linked with the earning indicators or profitability indicators or overall the position of the bank as such. So, this type of rating assumes a lot of importance, and then this is where the opportunity comes in, where you need not, if you fear statutory audit, it's all right. You need not work as a statutory auditor, but I will say that you can go through the CAMELS rating, find out ways and means to how to improve it legally, of course, and then tell them that आपने ये नहीं किया वक्त पे इसीलिए आपके ये मार्क्स चले गए, so please do that. It is as simple as conducting meetings. Now, if four committees are there, for example, ALM committee, what is that? That is Asset Liability Management Committee. So, in that case, one can always help them to conduct such type of meetings. Just a moment, please. Hmm. Sorry, that what now we will go in for the next one is it empowers government to obtain periodic reports and accounts. So that is what the constitutional amendment is. So this periodic reports, again, there are a lot of disclosures that are to be made. If we are only focusing even only on urban cooperative banks, then there are so many reports and disclosures that are now required by the regulator, by the government, by so many different authorities. Say, for example, RBI requires something that is known as suspicious transactions report or cash transactions report. Now, how to generate that? There is a separate module now many banks have used, but how it is implemented, someone has to check that. Not necessarily a statutory auditor or an internal auditor, but if you are a specialist in ISA or in information technology, one can understand what all criteria parameters can be taken up in the CTR and the STR, and whether they are being, actually assimilated or properly prepared, the data is properly taken up, These all things also can be looked up by a chartered accountant and who also have knowledge of information technology. Then there are what are offenses and penalties. Even this type of work in between the I have also seen some people who are also working as not exactly arbitrators, but as people who are consultants because they know the act, they can also put up and formulate the answers to be drafted to the cooperative societies or to some other authorities because there are so many different problems that these cooperative institutions face, and because they do not have professional people associated with them, it is a problem. And that's where a chartered accountant can help them, even for things such as drafting a letter. I have seen certain situations where the bank was working excellently. Only thing is that they were in a very mufusal area, a village where the bank managers understand the law very well. But a problem they faced was with communication, communicating to people even in city like Pune. People in small cooperative banks find it difficult to talk in हिंदी. दे डू नॉट नो हिंदी, इंग्लिश तो बहुत दूर की बात है, हिंदी में भी बात नहीं कर सकते. At that point, see, because earlier the banks were controlled by the state government or the state level regulators, and that's why the Marathi was compulsory. Now, what has happened is RBI is now in charge. So, RBI comes for audit. In that case, RBI people need not be from Maharashtra state or they need not know Marathi. I'm just giving an example related to one urban cooperative bank, a small urban cooperative bank in Maharashtra in Pune. So now what happened was that RBI people, they did not understand Marathi. They only understood English and Hindi. And these people, they were not at all accustomed with English. I mean, they could understand, but it was very difficult for them to communicate. In fact, because the elected members are usually who are people friendly or who know all the members, who can work for the members, but language may not be their strength. In that case, a chartered accountant can help them as a bridge between the RBI people and this cooperative bank people. They have all the reports, have all the data, but only problem is communication, drafting of replies. That itself is a big task for them. And that is where a CA can help because a chartered accountant knows the law and knows English or Hindi, whatever. So this is election related. Please go through the professional opportunities booklet to understand exactly how all the work can be done related to that. This is the current status to make you understand that now there is a separate union ministry of cooperation. And lastly, the ease of doing business for cooperatives. For carrying out ease of doing business, it is important that to understand the act and apply it properly. So this is the setup of state cooperation. We were talking about district level urban cooperatives. There are also many other type of cooperatives, such as state cooperative banks. These are different from urban cooperative banks. Then there are district related cooperative banks. District cooperative banks, this is set. We'll come to Central Register of Cooperative Societies in a short while, but before that, I want you to focus on this particular two items here in this slide. One is related to sanctioning of loans. Again, sanctioning of loans is a task by itself. It requires proficiency related to credit appraisal procedures. So not only in banks, this is related to banks, this particular slide, but not only in banks, in smaller credit cooperatives also, how correctly to assess a loan? What are the exactly ways and means to check out whether that borrower has sufficient income to repay the loans? These all things can also be supported by a chartered accountant because credit appraisal, financial analysis is also required by these particular societies before giving the loan. So credit appraisal is one thing if you can and make them understand that how important is to appraise the loans before actually giving out the disbursement. then that will also go a long way for these banks to function in a proper manner. Look at the third point, investments. So, investments, how to do it? A sophisticated way, proper way of carrying out investments. Otherwise, because these people do not have the proficiency, they understand investments, definitely. This is what has been my experience. But how to handle the investments? There are situations where investments, whether to be done, how long it is to be done. This is where the asset liability management comes in. What are the assets and what are the liabilities? Say, for example, my deposits are of very short term. Then I cannot make investment. I mean, the bank cannot or the credit cooperative cannot make investment for a long term. If I say, for example, take a case where 90% of my deposits or liabilities consist of savings account, for example. And on the other hand, so whatever money is there lying in the savings account, I have to give interest at the rate of 3% at least, or whatever. In that case, I have savings account is a demand deposit. So anytime a person can come and take it off. Now, how do I keep this money that is in savings account? Where do I invest it? What are the ways and means? Whether there are any methods in which I can earn a bit more, and then I'll be able to repay this savings account. If at all there is a heavy demand on the savings accounts balance by the savings people, then still I'll be able to overcome the liquidity issues. So what kind of decision is to be made? So this requires a lot of intense study about the investment patterns, about probability, about methods of investing. So this again is a big opportunity because I do not know of any chartered accountants who have concentrated on giving a helping hand, because these are a lot of investment. The investments in a cooperative bank, a simple cooperative bank also runs in crores. Now, how to do it? They do it in a very simple manner. Put up a fixed deposit or put it in government treasury instruments and all that. But nowadays, even that income or yield from treasury bonds or fixed deposits is falling down. In that case, it becomes very difficult for a bank to earn profits. In such a situation, again, and in management of investment, how to do a proper investment, how to churn it out, go for date related instruments and that kind of things, proper consultant is required. So that is another opportunity for you. Coming to Central Register of Cooperative Societies, why CRCS? The reason is that CRCS application empanelment is required for conducting statutory audits of multi-state cooperative societies. And as far as banks is concerned, recently I was approached with a few members that for conduct of concurrent audits, stock audits, for conduct of concurrent audits and internal audits, the urban cooperative banks are now asking the chartered accountants to be registered with this central registrar of cooperative societies. I believe that the committee is now making efforts for the empanelment process to start for the central registrar of cooperative societies. Just recently, they have assured me that this matter will be taken up with the CRCS at Delhi so that the procedure is clear and many people will be helped due to that. So for that, the CRCS has been allocated with following work. There is CRCS takes up this and deals with multi-state cooperative societies. They also have a Model State Cooperatives Act. Just go through them because again and again I am saying this, but knowledge of Act is very important. These are the contact details that I have managed to derive from their website. So till the entire process is cleared by the ministry, that how to empanel ourselves with the central registrar of cooperatives. Till that, please go through this. What I hear as far as latest amendment is concerned, that they will be having more than 4 offices in metro cities over entire pan India. They will be having 4 or 5 cities where they will be opening up decentralized offices of this central registrar of cooperative societies. So I hope that the process will be more clear in next 1 or 2 months. And for the financial year 25-26 as well as 26-27, if not 25-26, at least 26-27, the conduct of concurrent audits and all this for a multi-state cooperative society will be very clear, and we all will be able to take up the empanelment in large number, so that the basis, I mean, it will be a very interesting opportunity to conduct audits of central multi-state cooperative societies, and how it is being conducted over, the actual operations are conducted over different states, whether GST is done properly, whether TDS is being carried out properly, not only income tax, how the act is also basically applied. That will be a very interesting point of view. But before that, we need to empanel ourselves with CRCS. So these are the contact details, which and it is anyway available on the website of multi-state CRCS. So please go through it, and I hope that we will hear some news soon from the committee related to the empanelment under the CRCS. So these are the national cooperative societies. I have just enlisted them, 19 national cooperatives, so that we can understand that these are also the opportunities available to us in the form of this national cooperative. They are different from multi-state cooperatives. These are national cooperatives. Of course, multi-state act is also applicable to them, but these are very interesting societies like NAFED, marketing cooperatives, and I think that there will be many more such national cooperatives that will be established soon. Now, what are to assimilate what all we talked about professional opportunities? I have designed certain slides where we can talk about. We have been talking about professional opportunities, but this is in a more concise manner. Statutory and compliance rules, we have already talked about statutory audits. Then there are internal audits and concurrent audits also. In fact, they are mandated by RBI and NABARD. And then because of that, even in cooperative credit institutions, there is a large opportunity for statutory audits. Even in housing societies, as I explained, there were only 500 or 700 CAs together in Pune, and there were 13,000 housing societies to be audited as statutory auditors. In fact, let me share that the fees of credit cooperatives are far higher than even cooperative banks. So that's a good opportunity, definitely a remunerative opportunity for a chartered accountant to be auditor of a credit cooperative. Housing societies, the fees are less. They are only 100 rupees per member. At the same time, the audit is not as complex. If there are only 11 members, okay, the efforts are more, but there are a lot of opportunities because there are a number of housing societies that are to be audited. I think the efforts are now being made even at the state level by WRC and other regional uh, regional offices of ICAI to get these charges of statutory audit for housing societies or other cooperative societies to be reviewed and increased, because the reason is currently they are only 100 and 140 rupees or something, very small meager amount per member. The audit fees are per member. So they are now, I hope they will be reviewed soon. And in that case, definitely that will also become remunerative. Where there are tax audits, of course. Then there is GST audit and filing. But right now, some cooperative societies require help in compliance of GST. I think I do not practice in GST, but what I remember is that it is 7,500 rupees. If the maintenance 6,500 rupees maintenance fee is there per member, more than that, then GST is applicable. Something of that sort. We'll need to check up what is the latest situation. But even GST related consultancy is also there in GS, especially filing. So that kind of compliance help will also be useful for these cooperative societies. Then of course there is empanelment for state level. Also there is empanelment, and all last empanelment was done in 2020. Later on, it was also it was for 3 years. Then 1 year ago also they started doing this empanelment for state cooperatives. But you will also have to check up with the state cooperative department as to whether the empanelment and when is the empanelment. What I also understand is that ICAI has taken up specific data related to cooperative conduct of cooperative societies audit in the MEF form, multi-purpose empanelment form. And I think that will also be MEF will also be applied for while creating panels in respect of cooperative society audits. Because I remember there was some question in the MEF form that whether you are interested or you are taking up audits of cooperative societies. So I think that will be very easy to then empanel ourselves with various such bodies in case the MEF form is accepted also by the state and the central CRCS. But from some authorities have come to understand that definitely that this entire empanelment process will be made a bit easier. Coming to opportunities, we have talked a lot about consulting services because definitely there is large opportunity that I can see. Advisory, yes. So not a these are some specific of advisory and consulting services areas that I feel that we can focus upon. Income tax planning, 100% this is a good opportunity because as I said that I feel that chartered accountants have expert level or rather more than expert level of knowledge in income tax. And definitely it can be put to good use because there is lot of litigation among cooperative societies and the income tax related to 83. This 83 is a specific section, as you all must be aware, related to cooperative societies income tax. And there's a lot of litigation also. And where there is litigation, there is an opportunity. That is what I think. And then in that case, a chartered accountant can help these cooperative societies in properly planning their income tax and also help in the returns and how exactly your return is to be properly filled because application of ATP deduction and taking the ATP deduction is a slightly tricky thing to do. Then there is consultation on multi-state status. That is how to convert from a state to a multi-state cooperative. How to do that? What is how exactly it is possible? That kind of advisory also is possible according to me. Then there can be an advice. So please remember that we also have to follow the code of ethics and the professional misconduct that please do not do statutory audit and the management services for one client together because that is against our ethics. Please be ensure that you are also following code of ethics and of professional conduct in a manner and then only go for advisory and consulting services. Please just keep this in mind because otherwise it will create unnecessary hassles. Now, coming back to advice on capital structuring, please ensure that there are a lot of again issues related to share capitals and how much investment is to be made in date funds, how much investment can be possible in mutual fund, whether it is possible, when to withdraw it. Shares, equities are not open for any cooperative society to invest. But then there are problems related to reserve funds. See, there are reserve funds. One must know again the act for it that there is a reserve fund or a statutory reserve fund, and against that specific investments are to be made and they are to be earmarked. Now, how exactly to do that and yet not lose on the profitability? So that is one thing. Whether to lease or whether to purchase, whether to rent or to purchase. So that kind of or questions are also there in their mind. For example, software. If I'm a cooperative bank, whether I should go in for my own software, customize it, or whether I should just purchase some CBS software off the shelf or from say Omni system or Finacle or something like that. How and whether I should go for this buy option or whether I should lease it out. So this kind of decisions are very difficult because they directly affect the finance. And that is the reason why we as chartered accountants can help them in analyzing their structure, in analyzing whether it is possible for them to buy out or rent out. Then implementation of accounting standards or IFRS in large cooperatives. Not only that, even accounting standards implementation is a big task. Believe me, it is extremely difficult for a cooperative society. Uh, I mean, I've really seen examples just to apply DTA. Please go through the, as statutory auditors also, I will like to say here that please understand the accounting applicability of accounting standards in a cooperative society. Please go through them. I have seen a lot of cooperative societies where the accounting standards are not though required to be mandatory implemented. They have not been fully implemented. I'm not saying that they are not implemented, but they are not fully implemented, or the disclosure somewhere are lacking. In that case, there is an opportunity for chartered accountants to get it streamlined. Then there is advisory on applicability of TDS provisions. It is difficult for people, who are not experts in income tax act. That's why I'm saying that chartered accountants are experts in income tax, and that is the reason they can properly guide and help them in TDS provisions. TDS provisions are anyway very, very stringent. If a cooperative society forgets also to pay TDS or to even deduct TDS or deduct and not pay, then you and even forget, if they forget to even file the returns, then you can imagine what and how much they will be penalized. So it's really unfortunate that there are not many people who are well versed with this tedious provisions, and they are so much stringent. This is the place where a chartered accountant can always contribute and train them, or at least make them aware, the cooperative societies accountants, that what exactly is to be done, how it is to be properly filed, how it is to be properly the data is to be collected, etc. So I definitely see that there is a lot of opportunity in TDS. Merely filing of TDS returns or us training them to deduct it properly, I see a lot of opportunity in respect of this particular aspect of income tax. Then there is consultation for FPOs, that is farmer producer organizations. Why? Because there is cooperative, how to convert them into cooperatives, that also conversion, whether it is possible, how it is possible, and it will, because it will help all the other farmers in the vicinity to get members, just like Amul. If there are these local cooperatives also available, IFCO, just look at that. Those are also farmers related organizations. It has really helped them a lot. In fact, IFCO is one of the first cooperatives related to farmers, and it works, I think, in pesticides, fertilizers, and all that. In fact, I think IFCO's member chairman is also represented on the international cooperatives. So please have a look. I think he represents India for that. I think his name is Yadav. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact name, but that is also another opportunity, that if you yourself also are a cooperator for that audit or advisory, if a person themselves also can make, there are a lot of chartered accountants I have seen who are on the board of urban cooperative banks. So they can, one of my good friends, she is a chairman of a urban cooperative bank. So I think that is also one of the best uses a chartered accountant can make use of his or her own expertise. Then there are banking and finance sector opportunities. So as I have also have explained about credit monitoring and risk assessment in relation of cooperative banks. This is particularly these opportunities I have jotted them down for banking and finance sector. Then there is CBS reconciliation and technology audit, that is core banking solutions. So core banking solution is just an example. I do not mean to, market anyone particularly, but just because it is very popularly known as CBS. So then there are a lot of CBS solutions available in the market, and if one can study them, that implementation of CBS, I mean, core banking solutions, how to do migration, how to conduct a migration, even if two branches of a bank are merged, there also there is an opportunity. See, if one bank is closed and that entire business is shifted to the branch of the same bank or same institution, how to do the migration, how to conduct migration also of this particular changeover. That is also an opportunity for a chartered accountant. Then there are Basel norms and CRAR advice. CRAR is related to risk assessment. So, if at all capital risk adequacy. So, there are various norms related to CRAR in respect of banking and finance sector organizations, and where it is important to understand how a CRAR works, what are the components of CRAR, and what exactly consultancy can be given in respect of CRAR, how to increase tier 1 capital, how to increase tier 2 capital, whether there are any problems in compilation of the CRAR. Say, for example, whether the risk risk weightages are assigned properly, whether the calculation itself is properly done. So there are a lot of disclosure norms also required under BASIC, especially in case of large cooperative banks and scheduled cooperative ones. But RAR is so applicable to all. In fact, simple calculation of net worth that also has a lot of opportunity. The reason is that sometimes people do not have the expertise or the technology to take out the required data. That is where a chartered accountant can help. Then training and capacity building. So there is an opportunity for chartered accountants to go in for training, prepare an advisory and template for preparation of financial statements. Also, how to budget. See, budgeting is target fixing, for example. See, each and every bank, credit cooperatives, or even simple cooperatives, they need to have a budget, because it's also one of the agenda items, that how to prepare a proper budget, what is variance analysis, how to make use of the budget. That itself is a big area. If you know and can understand and handle such type of data, I think one can really explore this opportunity related to budgeting. Just let me also put in small thing that not only cooperative society, budgeting is an excellent tool even in case of charitable organizations, even in case of companies, uh, small time companies. Not very big companies already have budgeting and compliance and variance analysis and all the. In fact, it is also all computerized or automated. But at the same time, small time companies, not only cooperatives, but companies trust these kind of organizations can also use budget as a tool. And if you can help them to use this budgeting as a tool, I think it will be a real value addition to this particular organizations, because then they can make best use, optimum use of the resources, as we like to say while doing budgeting. So that is something where one can not only help the cooperatives but even other clients. But for that, one must understand what exactly or how a budget works. What are the just for the budget for the sake of budget is not really helpful, because many times I've seen that people do budgeting in companies and trust like just increase 10% over the previous year. So then that is not really a correct use of budget as a tool, because then variance analysis also has no meaning. But really, if one can use it like a zero budget, but there are so many methods of using budget as a tool. Please go through them. I think it will make wonders if one can really write about it and to train people. Training and capacity building does not necessarily only mean to train people in classes or coaching classes. Not that. What I mean to say is that in some cooperative banks, I have seen that the management expected that even their staff, as an internal auditor or as advisory, they wish that the cooperative, that their members or their accountants or those people were to be trained under for in basic cooperative law, or in fact basic accounting for that matter. Because what happens in bank or in societies, people come from different backgrounds. They need not be BCom. They can come from any background. And for them, basic accounting software is also a difficult task sometimes. Say, take for example a housing society. Not necessarily they might afford to, employ a accountant, a properly trained accountant. They might employ only be able to have a resource to employ only one person, and that person need not be so sophisticated or need not be such an expert in accounting. In that case, under making him clear that how to use accounting software, how to account for the fees that are received, how to account for expenses, TDS, this kind of training will also help the uh, society to perform better. Then for a society which has proper accounting systems, everything is in place, then risk assessment is also there. So internal control mechanisms are something that is a very much unlooked area. I'm very proud to say that I can risk-based internal audit is something that is yet unexplored, a slightly unexplored area, not only in banks, in companies, in large cooperative societies. It is very critical to identify such risk-prone or fraud-prone areas and then to put in controls or help them to train in those controls is also leads to capacity building and is very much essential for smooth functioning of a cooperative society. Designing internal control systems for fraud prevention is perhaps the best use of a chartered accountant's audit faculty, the audit faculty that we already have, because our we are trained to have a skepticism while carrying out audit. We means chartered accountants are trained to have this professional skepticism. In that case, we can easily understand that where controls are lacking, and if we can help the cooperative societies to design a control system, I think it will be the best use of our analytical view. So legal and regulatory compliance. So what is a legal and regulatory compliance? So formation and registration of new cooperatives or multi-state cooperatives. Okay, how to form them, how to use cooperative state act knowledge of that for formation of a company. Forget giving advisory, but it is giving advisory for forming itself a new cooperative. That is one of the wonderful opportunities one can make use of. Then assistance in amalgamation, liquidation, or conversion, whether to how to amalgamate it, merge it with some other cooperative society, whether to take over some other cooperative society, both things will have opportunity. Then there are also opportunities for representation before registrars, before RBIs, before income tax department. ROCS is Register of Cooperative Societies or DDRs. One can always say that. As a case study about communication problems have done, and this is how the reasons for carrying out such things. Capacity, to put forth his own case. So representation will also be useful for that. There are areas related to corporate service. We are just to finish it in 2 slides. So later on, we can also take up question answer session if required. Then specialized areas are forensic audits and investigations. These are also the opportunities that a chartered accountant can have. Due diligence before mergers or collaboration, before any other cooperative society is taken over or merged with other cooperative society, the cooperative society which wishes to take over the other society will need to conduct due diligence to understand whether there are any hidden problems or issues with the other cooperative society. Especially if you there are a lot of opportunities, as I said, because mergers of banks, small banks is on cards, and this will also throw up a good amount of opportunity for carrying out due diligence. Then there are project finance advisory. Please have a look at that professional opportunities publication related to this housing societies. there are a lot of opportunities that have been underlined, especially related to projects, that how a chartered accountant can advise on projects. Then there are agro processing units or dairies. Why projects related to dairies? Say, for example, that there is a biogas plant. Now, whether to go for biogas plant, whether that capacity or the cost of the biogas plant is large enough, and whether the cooperative society can produce, that much wastage or for creation of biogas. Now, this is related to, analysis of financial and non-financial indicators. Again, a chartered accountant is very well versed with impact analysis and therefore can provide such type of consultancy. Then digital transformation advisory, that is, I said, migration. If at all they want, if a society wants to shift from manually maintained accounts or Excel based accounts or such type of books of account to say totally computerized base or totally different type of accounting softwares, that kind of advisory transformation of books of account from one software to another, how to migrate from one software to another, that kind of advisory is also possible. Then fintech collaboration, structuring between startups and cooperative institutions. For example, again, there are so many softwares now available for fixed assets verification. Okay. Or there are so many softwares available for stock taking. Also, based mobile based applications available for stock taking. Now, a cooperative society wants to take stock. They will do it, say, for example, in a traditionally manual method. They will count all those things. But then there are real time apps available. So we are in a best position to help them to implement it, to help them to understand that there are real time apps in the sense that the stock can be taken each day, every time it or dispatch is made. So to do that, again, for example, there are drone technologies. So many apps and opportunities and technologies are available. But then, how to make use of them? So, if at all we can help them and advise them, it will help them to maintain their books. It will help them to maintain their stock in a more efficient manner. Even insurance related advisory. What type of insurance is to be taken up? Whether I have to take cash insurance for how much amount, whether I have to take insurance for building, whether it is really necessary. So that kind of opportunity also is available for a chartered accountant who can, deep dive into the insurance sector. ERP accounting software implementation, we have already talked. Then there is also advisory related to UPI, AEPS, again, digital framework within cooperative, not only cooperative banking, but we can also advise on how to set up UPI related accounts in a cooperative society for taking up receipts. But for that, we need to know what are the latest apps, what are the latest methods and technologies, techniques available for UPI based or that kind of framework. So each framework will have to be studied before we advise upon it. Lastly, the academic research and thought leadership. So how to go about this? This is all okay that I am ready, say for example, but how will the others know that I am ready to give this consultancy or advice or, for that a leadership is required and that is known as thought leadership. So how to go about it? See, ICAI is one of the biggest platforms one can make use of, and ICAI is very much open. For example, I was a member of WRC, I was a regional council member. In that, I have seen that we had a separate on our website on WRC, like our means all our chartered accountants website, we had a specific page for updation, really updates in cooperative sector. There are so many people who are working in cooperatives, but this leadership is required to update and post it on WIRC webpage. For example, again, I'm saying, then there are so many places or so many opportunities where one can constantly write about cooperatives, updates about cooperatives, so that people will know that this is a person. who has studied this particular cooperative sector's aspect, then have a liaising with government officers, RBIs, NABARD, so that liaising in a sense uh, there is an interaction with them and where you can put forth your opinions, your strengths in proper manner, and then that can be utilized to a better extent. Teaching and training in institutions related to cooperative courses also offers a good opportunity for research, and so that while teaching and training our also ideas get much more clear, and what is happening latest, what are the updates, that also is very clear to us. Let me share an example. In Vamnicom, that is Vaikunth Mehta Institute of Cooperatives, there are two courses on cooperatives for students, and there is 100% placement of that batches, of all their batches. I think there are two or three batches of cooperatives for students, 2 years course, and 100% placement is available. So that is the opportunity. Even I was surprised to see that there is such a demand for cooperatives students. I mean, people who have studied cooperatives, and that itself speaks about the number of opportunities that are readily available for a chartered accountants. So these are my contact details. And thank you so much for listening to me in a patient manner. And if at all any questions or queries are there, I'm free to ask them. You can also email me even at a later date if one feels that one needs to discuss certain thing. I'm please feel free to connect. So thank you very much. I hope that we all will be able to make use of the opportunities that are available in the cooperative sector. So Mansi ji, I'm open
Yes,
to
ma'am.
questions if there are any.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Let's go for the questions first. Um, Ma'am, one of the question is cooperative sector banks are in problem due to frauds, misdeed of directors, borrowers, etc. And in turn, CAs are also in problem. What is the role of ICI to protect CAs if CA is not involved in any kind of fraud or misdeed? Mhm.
I see. See, there are one. This is not a question related to this particular topic. But at the same time, I would like to say this that ICAI is a regulator, right? In the first place, this particular problems is outside the gamut of ICAI. ICAI perhaps may not have any rule, but as person to person, one can, if at all, I can say this that if at all you have played and documented everything correctly and in an orderly manner, no court can touch you. Please be assured of that fact. The directors misdeeds, yes, but it's a collective opportunity. If you are working as a director, then CA and ICA has nothing to do with it, for example. And if you have not put up your problems that and your no for that matter in the meetings as a director, then there's no one who can help you. But if you have shown your dissent and if you have documented it, then absolutely no one can touch you. That is point one. But if you are working as a chartered accountant, as a statutory auditor, you will be questioned, no doubt about it. I mean, yes, this is a risk. At the same time, how to mitigate that risk is by creating proper audit documentation. Having it, not creating, means creating documentation files, processes, and systems, so that if at all there are any questions related to audit, one will be able to answer it. There are also small problems, in related. I've also faced certain situations where even if I have stated everything in the audit report, yet there were problems, the political rivalries in with the board of directors in between themselves. Still, they put my name in place, saying that this is not reported. Now RBI, every audit has been conducted. All my reports are clearly stating what are the problems. Yes, this is a risk that one will be exposed to. But ICI being a regulator, I personally don't see ICI's role in such situations.
Okay. Let's move to next question, ma'am. Why state act as well as central act are there for governing the cooperative society? why different state has different cooperative society report format. In Jharkhand, for cooperative audit, CAs are not considered in most of the cases. State government cooperative auditor does the cooperative
Yes,
audit.
yes. I'm aware of that. Uh, why it is difficult for me to answer, but it has been so. As far as cooperative banks is concerned, now RBI is the regulator. In fact, I remember there is a publication of ICI which states, like it was published some 15 years ago, that there are dual control over cooperatives. Again, the reason was not discussed, but how to handle it and manage this dual controls was discussed in that particular publication. So I'm sorry to say I cannot answer the why part, but as far as empanelment is concerned and the audits of state level cooperative societies are there, yes, even we are facing the same problem in Maharashtra, but there is an opportunity for empanelment. I will request, I think NIRC Jharkhand falls under NIRC or CIRC. I'm not aware, but I think definitely this subject can be taken up by the regional councils members there, and the regional council can take up with the state authorities to empanel all the chartered accountants with the state government. I mean, in their panel, whereby the audits also can be can flow up to chartered accountants. So I'll request the committee as well as the member to take up this matter with the regional council so that they can pursue it with the proper state authorities, since it is a state subject.
Right. Okay, let's move to the next question. Since cooperative concerns have their own cooperative audit, kindly bring out the significance of CAs on the audit area, paid up capital or turnover limit for statutory audit, particularly agriculture cooperative, private or self-help cooperatives.
As far as cooperative societies is concerned, there is a bifurcation between 500 crores turnover and 1000 rupees. So, 1000 crore rupees turnover. So that was the basic bifurcation between that. But as far as each state might have a different criteria, as far as banks is concerned, there were this criteria. Agricultural societies, I will have to check up because right now I'm not auditing any agricultural society. But as I understand, there is a criteria related to turnover only. But please give me some time to check this particular thing up. I'll email it and then the uh, committee can share that email with you. As far as empanelment related, I mean, audit related to them are concerned. But apparently, I am not seeing any criteria related to empanelment for auditing. For RBI, RBI has specified it on the basis of turnover, but for others, there is an empanelment based upon the constitution of your own firm. Whether it's a partnership firm, whether it's a proprietorship firm, then the panels are A, B, C, like that. And then the audits are given based upon the size of the cooperative society. So some cooperative societies are given to A level, B level, C level, that way. Please let me confirm. This is my apparent opinion, but please give me some time to get back.
Sure, ma'am. Next question is how to apply for audits. What are the general eligibility criteria for CA firms?
CA funds first, so it should be a partnership concern in the first place. For cooperative banks, it is regulated by RBI and the regulation is very clearly mentioned for banks. For others, and ISA is a must in case of like information system security auditor. That criteria, that certification is a must in respect of urban cooperative banks because that is the RBI's criteria, and there has to be three partners, 1000 crores less and above, and there are specific criteria for that. And also the criteria includes for urban cooperative banks knowledge of statutory audit. So the person should have 6 years experience of statutory cooperative banks audit. So that is related to banks. For others, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, one of the prime things is knowledge of Marathi. So in Maharashtra, knowledge of Marathi is important for conduct of audit. So for empanelment, partnership forms are definitely given a weightage. Even, uh, I mean, proprietorship concerns are also empaneled with them. But partnership forms is the one of the basic criteria. Marathi requirement is another criteria. Then they also require all the partners to be fully associated. So, if at all that is the case.
Okay. The next question is whether practicing CA can be on the board of cooperative bank or society other
Yes.
than the bank where he is a statutory auditor.
Yes.
Okay. Next is certificate issued by regional council issues certificate to member who attend certificate course in cooperative
Was
society. Whether the same
yes.
is valid for organizations established under respective state acts to carry out audits.
See, earlier, even I have done this certificate course on cooperatives, which was conducted at in Maharashtra by WRC also. Now, ICAI is conducting not at regional level but at central level. This course is being conducted. So I'm sure that this is no longer a mandatory thing. Certificate course. Earlier, it was a mandatory thing to conduct cooperative societies audit. It was mandatory to have attended the certificate course, having sessions on cooperative society. In fact, even I have the certificate stating that this was the course number that you have attended cooperative society. But
Okay.
now, in my opinion, this is no longer mandatory, and therefore, and whatever course is being conducted by the committee, that would suffice. It is not mandatory for empanelment.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an
Yeah,
insightful session. The way you explained what is cooperatives, its history, its national importance, as well as international importance. You told us that more than 7.9 lakh societies are already registered and are due for audit. So this is a huge opportunities for chartered
yes,
accountants. You told us that we can start with the stock audit first if we want to enter into cooperatives. So many things you informed us about the opportunities available for us. Thank you so much for such a knowledgeable session by you, and I I believe that it if it would be face to face session, then it must be a very interactive session. The way you
yeah.
answered all the questions later on, it was a very nice way of explaining everything. Thank you so much, ma'am,
Thank you. Thank you
on
so much.
behalf
I'll
of the
just
team.
like to end it with one sentence or, quote by Barack Obama. Okay. He says that your destiny is not written for us. Okay. Destiny is not written for us, but by us. So thank you very much, Mansi, for conducting this session. Thank you, committee, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.